I get a phone call about this dog. They had found him on the side of the road and that had been attacked. And typically when we get phone calls about dogs being attacked, it's dog-on-dog attack. And then usually those dogs tend to go for each other's necks or their legs or something like that. This dog had literally had the top of his head ripped off.
Romeo was attacked by a wild animal, we think a bobcat or a mountain lion. He was missing like a quarter-sized chunk from his skull. He had an ear that was almost off, just barely hanging on. Multiple puncture wounds on his head. If you look at the wounds, he should be dead.
First thing I thought was, this is going to take some time to get through. What we needed to do immediately is to make sure he's stable, provide antibiotics, flush and treat the wounds as best we can topically, do surgical reattachment to the ear, as well as placing drains to prevent abscessation to the head and neck.
So they called me and they said, well, we've got 10 pieces of gauze in between his skin and his skull. And I was like, wow, this is gonna take some time. This is gonna be a special one. Molly stepped up. She told me that she wanted to bring him in, and I knew from our past experience with her that she would be perfect for Romeo.
I wasn't sure what we were gonna get with Romeo.
You have to go back to the vet because your bandage is coming off, little guy.
The biggest challenge for me was keeping his bandages on. We finally got through the worst of his injuries. His ear, they stitched it up and was healing very nicely.
He was going on walks, he was eating well, he's happy, he's playing, he was doing great.
He was well on his way to getting adopted. We had a meet and greet lined up for Romeo. Then all of a sudden, everything just changed. He stopped eating. If he did eat something, he wasn't able to hold it down.
I had her rush him to the emergency room, and they stabilized him that night. The next day, he was seen by these specialists. When a specialist tells you they've never seen a liver and a gallbladder that were that deformed, you know that there's a problem. They said, this dog is gonna die.
After suffering a horrific head injury from a wild animal, Romeo was nursed back to health by his rescue mom. But unexpectedly, Romeo's recovery has taken a turn for the worse.
I get a phone call from the specialist that says, this dog is gonna die, and he's gonna die today or tomorrow. It's probably in the top 3 of the hardest days of my entire career.
So to go from this dog that went through so much, that was finally healed from that, to then all of a sudden being on death's door, it was just a real gut punch for everyone. Kelly called me to tell me that they were going to put Romeo down. She said, do you want them to euthanize him at the hospital, or do you want to bring him home and give him just a couple days of love? And there was no hesitation whatsoever.
She said, I am gonna go get my boy and I'm bringing him home. It's gonna make me cry thinking about it.
Initially, I just gave him a lot of love and pets. But then I thought, well, I'm gonna just take him on a car ride because he always loved car rides. And so I put him in the back and I rolled down the window, and tears were in my eyes when I saw him sticking his head out of my car, and just pure joy and just contentment. And I thought, maybe we can turn this around. It was just about giving him something to fight for. Someone in rescue told me about a special recipe that they did for their really ill dog that wouldn't eat anything else, and he started eating it. He started getting better, a little more energy, little by little. He was turning around, we weren't really sure why.
The weird thing about Romeo is he ended up having bacteria that went through the bloodstream. We theorized that went into his liver and caused abscesses.
The vet said, take him off all the other meds, but keep him on antibiotics, and that's what we did. So once we felt confident that he was really out of the woods, we opened it up for adoption. And the idea of this little guy leaving me at this point, after everything we went through, I couldn't let him go. Now I have another foster, so I have 5 dogs.
Without Molly saying, no, we're not gonna let him go, without her doing that, he wouldn't be here today probably.
Yeah, how's that? He's a happy dog. He's eating, he's a normal dog. He loves to go on walks. He's energetic. I think it's only up from here. He's gonna have a good life if I have anything to do with it.